Hockey Inside Out, presented to you by The Gazette.
Welcome to the Hockey Inside Out show. I'm Montreal Gazette sports editor Stu Cowan, joined today by Chris Nyland, Jack Todd, and our new hockey writer Christopher Curtis. Chris, the big trade this week, Travis Moan for Sergei Gonchar. Good trade, bad trade, your thoughts?
Depends how you look at it. Listen, short term, you get rid of a player who was in and out of the lineup, who I think has been a loyal trooper here, but you get rid of that money for next year. I think it's going to hurt in the short term as far as the development of the two young defensemen in Tinordi and Beaulieu. Again, I don't know how this guy's going to be defensively. I've seen him in a few games where he's been out there, he's been really soft defensively. He might help the power play if he does, great, but you know, you got Subban and Markov. What's that say about your power play when you got to bring in a 40-year-old guy?
My theory is that they had to get him so they have another guy who can talk to Yemel and keep him sorted out.
Art Bombazzo had an interesting tweet from NHL.com. Said there's 9 Russian defensemen in the NHL now, and 3 of them are with the Habs.
Yeah, well, they know how to say "niet" if nothing else. I kind of like it. I like the fact that Bergevin never seems to give up anything in a trade. I mean, I'm not knocking Moen there. He never gives up an integral piece of his puzzle, you know. If Gonchar can help that inert power play, I think that's probably the most important thing they have to do over the next 2 or 3 months is get that power play started somehow. Even if all he does is show them some little tricks. PK has to get it out of his head that the only way is to blast it through 10 bodies to get it to the net. Well, and if Gonchar can show, finesse it onto the net, you know? And Gonchar can play either side.
You need somebody in front of the net. Other than their goaltender.
This is true.
And other than Brendan Gallagher.
So, you know, it's like, I don't think the problem is so much up top. I think it's pot system and it's pot personnel.
Yeah. Jack might actually be, it's a joke, but Emelin, having someone to talk to Emelin might not be the worst idea. Andrei Markov is a good lead by example guy, but he isn't a great communicator.
Yeah.
We've had some very awkward conversations. So maybe having a guy who's a little easier to approach, who is an authoritative figure, would actually be beneficial for Emelin.
Yeah, I kind of look at him as a semi-coach, you know, and the fact that he can play either side on the power play. So if you want to rest Markov a bit or, you know, change things up, he can do that. And then as far as going to the net, I want to see Sakatch on the power play because he'll drive the net.
Yeah, but if you can have all the guys who tiptoe through the tulips that you want out there, but you need somebody in front of the net, especially when the power play's struggling. It should be get shots to the net, let's get some ugly goals and get it going. Because they've tried all the cutesy passing the puck around, and a lot of times there's no rotation of bodies. They move the puck really well, but they never rotate bodies. It can be read so well. Like last night, Pacioretty's on the half wall, Deane in the slot, Max gives him the puck. Deane, what's he going to take it and shoot it on his backhand? He's not set up for the one time. He's
going to pass
he's on that board, but he give it right back to him. So it's like something has to be done with the rotation. And I'm a firm believer when you struggle like that, you got to simplify it, get shots through, get a big body in front of the net, and try and get some confidence in the power play that way.
So they're also not drawing power plays. They're not playing the kind of hockey where you can get a bunch of power plays and even practice. They get maybe 2 or 1.5 a game. It's not conducive to any kind of success there.
One thing interesting, Gonchar was drafted in 1992, the same year Beaulieu and Tinordi were born.
Yeah, well, they're lucky. It's the same year I retired, so they're lucky.
Now, René Bourque in Hamilton, he met with reporters this week and said, I'll get back to the NHL. It's just a matter of when and where. Really?
Well, geez, you know, he's got his work cut out for him. If he goes down there and works hard, who knows? And he has some success, but, you know, René Bourque brought this on himself, you know. And listen, I'm sure he's a nice guy, and he is, okay? I hear
Maybe
that
too nice.
But he had the concussion, and I'm of the ilk that if you have a concussion and it bothers you that much, then stay out of the lineup. He had the concussion. It seems like some scribes and some people talked about how, oh, his concussion, blah, blah. Then he goes and has a playoff like he had. So where was the concussion then?
Yeah.
And then he comes back this year and it's same old, same old. He brought it on himself. He did it to himself. And that's where he belongs right now in the minors. If he can go down there and prove to the league, to this organization, that he deserves another shot, well then good on him. But That's thin ice, boy. You just, I don't know. It's sad.
Mm-hmm. You were saying it was weird in the locker room the next day after he was gone.
It's like he never existed. And that's such a strange thing. And I mean, is it that much different from when he was on the ice? I mean, he's like, no.
You look forward to seeing him when he comes back.
No, he is a nice guy, and there is the possibility that he was playing with a concussion. But like Chris said, he has this explosion in the playoffs. So what's the X factor? Is it just that, okay, I'll play lights out hockey now. I won't worry about my health now because there is no tomorrow. But it seems like there was this hesitation, like there wasn't that physical element to his game. When he first came to the Canadiens, I remember him getting into a pretty violent fist fight against the Capitals and thinking,
Hendricks.
wow.
And he gave it to him.
Yeah, he really gave it to him. And you think, wow, this is finally our prayers are answered, but that went away.
Yeah, I have an odd theory about him. He strikes me like there's two different kinds of players who don't give you the effort. One kind is like Vanek in the playoffs. When he just seems to consciously say, screw it, I'm not going to get hurt, I'm going to cruise. In the playoffs, you know, and deep into the playoffs, you're still, but Bork strikes me more as like a troubled soul. Like he has trouble getting in touch with his inner hockey player or whatever it is sometimes. I think he's one of those guys that was born with all kinds of talent and all that, but maybe isn't really a natural hockey player at heart. He doesn't have that Gallagher gene, you know, where you're just going to go out and break your ass every day. I know I'm getting a little philosophical about this, but he's a hard guy to figure out. We've seen a lot of people come through here dogged at Gomez, Cabriolet, you know, Vanek. He doesn't fall quite in that category.
It's almost like he's one of those guys that came too easy to him maybe when he was younger. You'll like this, Chris. In Rennie Bork's career, he's earned $21.8 million.
You know what? And this is a thing. Yeah, I think I had some idiot send an email to my show saying, "Oh, I'm just jealous guys making money." I've never been that way. I never will be that way. I don't care. I don't care if a guy's. Rennie Bork was making $250,000 a year. I'd feel the same way. And to me, it was back in our day. If a guy signed a big deal and he dogged it, he was a dog too. It doesn't matter. I don't care about the money thing. It's what the market bears today. It's what players get paid. I'm happy for hockey players that they finally got paid. What I don't like is the guys who get the big contracts and fat cat it.
We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back to the Hockey Inside Out show. With Rennie Bork down in Hamilton, one of the biggest changes, immediate it seems, is Lars Eller looks like a different hockey player, Chris.
Well, I think it's been coming from maybe 7 or 8 games. You're seeing a different Lars Eller. He's a lot more confident with the puck. He's creating his own space, and now he has a line that really just seems to work. We're making a big deal out of Sekac being added. But how about Brendan Prust? I mean, here's a guy who was on the 4th line, and he really belongs, when he's healthy, he belongs on the 3rd. He's really, maybe doesn't have the best finishing ability, but he's so good at controlling the puck, at controlling the play, at making little things happen, that you're giving Eller a universe of possibilities, and you're seeing results.
I've said this before in the show. He reminds me of you, Chris. Did you feel more pressure when you were playing with highly skilled guys, highly skilled guys?
Or Brandon Prust?
Well, in looks, it would be Eller.
Was it tougher for you, or more pressure playing on like the 3rd or 4th line, or when you were paired with some skilled guys?
You know, I was just so comfortable with Gainey and Carbonneau. We had it going on, you know, and very rarely was I with anybody else until I got traded. So, you know, Lars Eller, along with Prust and Sekac, I think it's a good line. And sometimes that's what you need you need a little bit of a change to get things going. I think they complement each other well. You know, you get a guy, Sentiment, who has struggled, who tried to find his game, and so far it's helped. And you can blame it on Rennie Bork, but come on, you look yourself in the mirror and you got to take care of things yourself. It does help to have some good line mates, but that can't be the only thing holding a player back when he's not playing well, one line mate. So you know, it's nice to see the turnaround, and Lars is kind of back from Mars right now.
Lars is back from Mars.
Well, Brandon Prust, I mean, you talk about, you know, Rene Bourque and the lack of effort. I mean, Brandon Prust, there's nobody who works harder on the ice than this guy every shift.
Yeah, it's
creates space.
It's a great example to everybody else that makes things happen on the ice, and I think it's a great combination because Sekac is absolutely explosive. That move that he made to the net against Winnipeg that set up Eller's goal,
to the net.
That was big time. He's not afraid to go. He's not a European who wants to diddle around on the outside. I think that's going to be a terrific line. I hope they stay that way, and I would really like to see them with some power play time because Prust will go park his ass in front of the net.
Well, yeah, that would be nice. It'd be nice to see at least change the personnel, some of it. You know, and we haven't seen that yet. I hope it happens.
I like that they can score on the rush. I like that they can play the possession game. They can have a nice series, and I like that Eller's chippy. If his name was Larry Ellington, I think Don Cherry would build a shrine to him. He's just.
But it's also a little easier to be chippy when you have Brandon Prust on your line too, right?
Well, Lars is always stick his nose in there. You know, he does, and you know, especially when you think of the hit he took from Greiber to come back from that and still play and get involved. Good on him. See, Lars has always worked hard. He's just not a finisher, and he's not one of them guys that's going to give you that game every game. You know, like I said, there's times he'll come, he'll skate through everybody, and then he'll get to the blue line and he'll hit the organist in the head with the puck.
A slap shot.
You know?
Terry said about that line after the game, he said they've got a lot of passion and a great attitude. I think that sort of sums them up. Now with Gonchar here, what do they do now with Tinordi and Beaulieu, Jack? Who stays, who goes?
Well,
I mean, they're
you know,
defensemen now.
As far as their development is concerned, everybody says it's going to hurt. It's not going to hurt it if they go down to Hamilton and play 25 minutes a game. You know, this is what I would like to see. If the consensus seems to be that they're not quite ready here, as they've already done with Tinordi, let them go rack up the major minutes down there. I also think Gonchar can be a great teacher on the ice for these guys. So that's two advantages you have. And of the two, it's a toss-up, but you know, Beaulieu has shown us some things that I really didn't expect. I was beginning to call him Patrice Brisebois, but after I saw him jump into that fight and win it big time, you know, I think he's a more natural Tiger than Tinordi is. Tinordi makes himself be that because he understands it's part of his role.
You said it right.
Beaulieu's got it, you know.
And
he's a little, he loses it, right?
The big thing about Tinordi is he's got to work on his skating. It's hurting him right now. And if there's a guy ahead, it's Beaulieu because he can skate at this level, no problem. He's got a little nasty in his game. He's one of the only defensemen who doesn't wind up from the point. He takes a lot of wrist shots just trying to get the puck to the net. He's got to work a little bit more down low in his own end and know when to go and know when to hang back. Tinordi, he's been burnt a few times. You know, a big guy like that with the range he has should be able to keep offensive players to the outside. There's been times last year and this where guys have come on the inside of him or got around him. A guy that big with that range, you got to be able to keep someone on the outside, close on him, and finish. And he's struggled with that, and I think a lot has to do with the feet.
I think a lot of fans forget these guys are 21 and 22 years old too. It's not they got a long future ahead of them.
I think one of the things that maybe one of the subplots that's sort of lost here is that he's playing on the second pairing. Beaulieu is. He's basically supplanted Emelin as the number 3 or the number 4 guy. And he looks good. And yeah, you got to watch it for those quiet ones because bag of knuckles, man.
And look at the defensemen who play, like 40 years old, Gonchar here, Chelios, Lindstrom. Defensemen play a lot longer because it's so difficult for the young guys to come in and really take the reins. It's a difficult position to really solidify yourself in a group of 6 and have a positive effect on the game. Young guys have a difficult time coming in and adjusting to the level of speed, the physicality, everything in the National Hockey League.
Gonchar is another veteran that Michel Therrien knows. He had him in Pittsburgh, and he's talked about how he helped Malkin develop into the player he is. So it'll be interesting going forward to see the role he plays in developing Tinordi and Beaulieu. That's it for this week's show. We'll see you again next week with another episode of Hockey Inside Out.